take that. The black eye transition. So Blackmore. The subtitle for Blackmore is a steampunk adventure game. It's being featured on Kickstarter. They have 22 days ago, and they are looking for $200,000, which is a hefty sum of money. Yet they've racked up 46,633 as of this recording. And what Blackmore is a steampunk adventure game. As I said, it's a Japanese-style adventure game. It's being made by this gentleman by the name of Jeremy Blaustein. Jeremy Blaustein, I think, has been working and living in Japan for quite some time, working for Konami. So he's been rubbing shoulders with guys like Hideo Kojima. He worked on Snatcher, Metal Gear Solid, and the Silent Hill series. He says he's a localization guy, so he's done that sort of stuff with the language and text, and I guess been in the studio as well with like voice actors and things like that. He's the lead on this project. He's doing the writing and the general direction, and he's recruiting a bunch of other industry vets from Japan to help him out. He's got a composer and an artist, and another big get for him is that he's got Solid Snake himself, David Hayter, providing the voice for the main character in the game. And yeah, if you scroll down on the Kickstarter page, you can see a little testimonial by Mr. Hayter. So that's cool. Overall, I would say the pitch kind of on the could be better side, where it's like a 5-minute pitch video, and it definitely a lot of sincerity to it, but it took a long time for it to really get to the point. And when it did get to the point, there was still very not a lot of details, very thin on details about how the game will actually play and what the game is going to be. There's no prototype to show off, and I guess this is sort of unfair to say, okay, what's the game going to be? He explains it, and it's pretty easy to imagine. It's a point-and-click adventure game, so we all know what those are, and I think the big selling point is just the setting and the story, which we don't know too much about, although there are details if you scroll down further on their page. So all in all, this is not a game that myself personally I would feel really anxious to play or that I would like back. But I think there's a definitely audience for it there, and I think for them to get David Hayter on board, that's really going to help them a lot. And there's an adventure game renaissance going on, so why not? I say more power to them. And just the word of warning: the first 2 seconds of the pitch video, those aren't game graphics. I know Justin and we both made a mistake of thinking it was, for some reason, some high resolution, high detail the game footage that they're showing at the start. It's just a high angle shot of like a street in Japan, but for some reason it looked like a game. And that's probably like wishful thinking or something. But anyway, there you have it, Blackmore. What are your guys' take on this?
I'm kind of, the more I play steampunk games, university type games, the more I kind of enjoy them. I think it's interesting that, and I also I'm a big fan of period movies and even period music. So this is really neat to see a steampunk game in London, in a 2.5D style. I think this is neat. We've got a team, we've got a collection of individuals who've been working on games for many years. The video kind of gets you in the spirit of wanting to help these folks, especially our lead designer here, who is just a poor immigrant in Japan working for Konami. He's just like he's made a lot of cool and fantastically talented friends. I think there's a lot that we should expect from this, and it kind of is exciting as well. The artwork they've released seems great, and I'm excited to see kind of what they do with it. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I could have done with a lot more description of the game and less stylized camera angle shots of the
video. You mean?
Like,
yeah,
Japanese city.
Yep.
And like them standing in giant crowds in the Japanese city. Um, yeah, like just reading the summary that they, like he has like 2 paragraph summary of the game, and that explains a whole lot more to me of what the game was than this 5.5 minute video. Yeah, I feel like he's kind of like trying to elicit that feeling of like we can create a game, we have the power, and like trying to get some emotion into the people viewing the video. But yeah, I think a little bit more on the game details could have helped.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right, and I think that we don't really get to see too much of the game. So
you don't see anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So we see artwork, and we know there's a story, and we know we've got talented devs, but we don't know really what we're going to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, do they show artwork in the video or just on the Kickstarter page?
I just meant the page in general.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot here. And also I was curious, like, what's a Japanese adventure game compared to, like, it seems like the only difference is that the artwork is more anime-esque. Do you guys know the difference? I wasn't sure if it was like...
I think it's largely just the art style that's going to be the Japanese part of things. It seems like, yeah, in terms of the setting, obviously it's in London, steampunk London. And you would think that since this guy's a localization expert, that they'll do a Japanese language version of the game, or at least put it in a stretch goal, which I haven't really dug too deep into, the stretch goals, I mean. But if you look at the artwork, it's very reminiscent of, sort of like that anime style, which makes a lot of sense since Japanese artist is helping him out. And yeah, to your point, Justin, the pitch video does waste a lot of time. It's it's a lot of time lost, precious time lost, just him telling like a story about himself being a gamer and telling the story of Kickstarter, which is really puzzling to me at this stage now, where Kickstarter is not a new thing. If anyone's looking at this video, they know what Kickstarter is, and he's explaining the Kickstarter concept. Which
do you think that that's because he's actually looking for outside investors for this project as well?
Or it might just be not that common in Japan.
It could be. It could be.
That might be another. I mean, obviously Kickstarter still isn't that popular in North America either. But I mean, it has been around for a while.
Yeah.
The artist does look pretty cool. I like his like mohawk.
Yeah. There might be that thinking, that strategy behind the video, just making sure that they don't make any assumptions and just putting out something that's really comprehensive, that kind of hits on the emotional notes, even though it's kind of light on game details. Which, as a venture game, you would have thought they'd have a prototype of something. And it's funny, in the core team, they don't really mention any programmer until you scroll all the way to the bottom. You see there's this one guy who's the programmer. And he seems like he's an experienced fellow, so he should be able to handle the...
well, they call him an all-around technical wizard in programming.
Yeah. So
ass kicker.
There's a PhD for that, right? So
an ass kicking.
Exactly. Even if they didn't have a programmer, there's something called Adventure Game Studio that people are cranking out point-click adventure games left and right using that thing. Cart Life was made with it just by one guy, right? So it's easily done. This is not CryEngine stuff we're talking about here. This is an adventure game, so it's really going to come down to the storytelling and the writing. And on that note, he's also unproven, right? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out.
Very, very interesting. I think I want it to succeed. I mean, the artwork is fantastic, and what he's describing, even as a story, the characters are interesting to me. The main character, Emma, I think it's going to be cool. I hope it comes to fruition.
Yeah, I think the project will definitely have soul to it. They're definitely passionate, and it doesn't seem like a it seems like the story will definitely have be a little bit more deep than, I guess, the typical video game story.
Yeah. Do you think, just one last thing on this game, do you think 200K is a little high for the kind of game they're making? Do you think that is going towards possibly paying for voice talent, such as a certain Solid Snake?
I don't think that. It doesn't surprise me with the people he's trying to bring on board. It does not surprise me.
It's not just David Hayter. It's these industry veterans that probably holding down regular jobs while they're working on this.
He doesn't give us any budgetary information, does he?
Yeah, there's no breakdown or anything like that.
I would assume that there's marketing in there too, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, yeah, like $200,000 to make a game is not, that's a pretty low budget. If you're trying to make something that's stands out, obviously, yeah, voice acting can get pretty pricey. So I imagine a lot of that money would go to voice acting. And it sounds like the people that are working on it are talented, and I'm sure if he wants them to work on it, he's going to have to pay them. I'm not, it's like, yeah, who knows really what the budget is, but...
I didn't see any hugs going around.
I mean, to be completely realistic, I don't think would be collecting a paycheck for working on this game with even 200,000, because that's really nothing these days for making a game. So yeah, it's you might think that they might set the bar lower and just hope for runaway success.
Yeah, and that can help because it's like if it's funded, then that seems to almost make a Kickstarter project more popular, and then more people start funding it, even though like once it's already funded.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important to be honest, and I'm sure that they need at least $200,000 to make this game. So
There.